Good morning.
Good morning.
Just a couple of announcements. First of all, everybody has the announcements, so there's no really need for me to read them all. We do ask that you silence your phones. And let's see, what else is on here that's really, really important I want to mention. Oh, if you're a newcomer or a new member or thinking about joining, we have a newcomers class that will be the first Sunday of the month for the next 6 months, starting with this 2 Sundays from now. So if you're interested in what UU is, how to be a UU, which is kind of an interesting journey in itself, please come to those. It'll be at 10 o'clock every Sunday morning for the next first Sundays for the next 6 months. So it's about an hour of your time, and we don't eat or anything else. We'll drink some coffee and have some donuts. And then, let's see what else is important. Y'all can read the rest of it. That's important.
Voting.
Oh yeah, thank you. Next Sunday at 1 o'clock? At 1 o'clock for our members, we're going to have our election. If you can't make it to that meeting, you can vote by email. We'll send those out earlier in the week. I encourage all of our members that if you want to nominate yourself or to nominate somebody else that is willing, that you do so. And so we can get everybody included in that. And, we're run by democratic principles here, so your vote counts, and we want to have everybody vote. That's it.
Great.
And then covenant?
Oh, the covenant. I don't do this enough. You have a copy of the covenant here, and it goes in unison. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its gift, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth objectively, and to help one another. This is our covenant. River?
I think I have my mic on. Okay. All right. So our chalice lighting is, we light this flame to ignite our hearts and minds, the spark of knowledge that enlightens, the shimmering hope that burns, the blazing love that engulfs our actions, the bonfire of our commitment. We light this flame for those who have been ridiculed, that they might find peace, for those who have to marry, that they may celebrate, for those who live in uncertainty in the world, that they may have hope. We light this flame to renew our commitment that no one shall ever again suffer for the right to love. We light this flame to celebrate our kaleidoscope of diversity, working, loving, and living on the side of love. For this, we light this flame.
Never mind. I was ready.
You was sounding good.
Thanks.
I'm actually going to start this morning. So. And mine is one of concern. I got a message and then subsequent phone call yesterday that one of my aunts has been diagnosed with breast cancer. Sorry, I'm still processing. It's a good prognosis. It's not an aggressive form. It's just always a little shell-shocking and concerning when that word comes up, especially for my mom and her sisters. My mom lost her mother to breast cancer when she was fairly young, and so this is just something that's been weighing heavy on my heart since yesterday. So, but if anybody else has joys or concerns that they would like to share.
Hello, I'm Tom. This is my country background. Candle of joy. Candle of sorrow. My daughter finally was able to get a car. She was a meth head, and she had her baby 5 years ago while she was on meth, and they took her away. She got her back. She had twins. She lost her house. They took all of them away again. She got them back. The only thing she was missing was a car, and she got the car last week. There was an incident that happened, and this is just the right group to talk about it too. I taught my children, all of them, to love everyone. Color, religion, sexual orientation, until they were proven to not be a trustworthy person, to love them and to embrace them and to share with them. She allowed a man named Thomas Murphy, who identifies as Christina Murphy, 70 years old, into her life. Christina wanted to help with the children. And she started getting really, really, really weird. She wanted my 30-year-old daughter to move in with her and be her paramour. And Rosalie's real good at that. Shit. Yeah, sorry. That's what she told them. Okay. She pushed her away because it was getting more and more clingy and more and more clingy and more and more clingy. And it's culminated with the woman who sent a package to my daughter with dirty toilet paper, dog shit, and cockroaches addressed to my 5-year-old and 2-year-old grandchildren. What do I do with that?
Thank you, Tom. And we do feel your grief and we feel your pain, and we share in that. And we know
And I'm
that
not there. That's the worst part. I'm not there. I can't protect them. I can't do a damn thing for them.
Yes. Anybody else have a joy or concern?
Would you like to light a candle too, or would you like to light?
If someone could do it for me so I don't forget that, that'd be great. Hi, for those who don't know me, I'm Ellis, and on Friday I'm going to be coming out very publicly, both to social media and to my family. So that part's a joy, but then I have a concern about it, which is that I will be estranging myself from the majority of my family in the process, just by doing that, and it's going to be really, really rough. I don't know how to deal with it yet. I'm going to need community support as I go through this process.
You found it here.
Yes.
You definitely found it here. Anybody else
Have a joy or concern? Okay.
Would you like to light your own candle?
This is one of concern.
It is also for an aunt, someone else said earlier. She had a major heart attack and has been in the hospital for, I'm not even sure how long anymore.
Yeah, just get it.
Okay. And she's been in the hospital for, I think, a month, probably 2. I don't know. My work schedule has days and months and weeks all everywhere. But she's had to undergo multiple different surgeries, and they had her in a rehab facility, and she was doing better. And then I'm not sure what happened. I don't have all the details. And then she had to go to Galveston, and then Houston, and then Galveston, and then Houston, for all kind of other different surgeries on even her lungs, and she's fighting through it, but she's having a rough go.
Anybody else have one?
My name's Adam, for those of you that may not know me. I don't get to come here every month because of my work schedule. Right now, my biological father, he just got out of the hospital in Ohio, but he's in a rehab center there. We're supposed to be going to get him, supposed to leave on my birthday on July 3rd to go to Ohio to get him and get his stuff or whatever, but he's in a rehab center there, and he was diagnosed as the onsets of Alzheimer's. So just please keep him in your thoughts and prayers and stuff for that, and that we can have a safe journey there. Me and a friend of mine are going to drive all the way to Ohio and back, so safe travels on the road and stuff like that and whatnot.
Thank you, Adam. Anybody else?
I actually have a concern and a joy. The joy is really small. The concern, a friend's parent, and I won't go into detail, it's not my place. They're concerned about their health, something that's happened to them. And I just really hope that in your hearts and minds, you don't know who the person is, but reach out to that friend, to that parent, with your energy, hope for the best for them, please. The joy, I've been terrified of my job because we have a wonderful provider leaving. The one that's left is very strict, very background, white Christian, right-wing kind of mindset that's been pushed in my office, which terrifies me. So Wednesday, I have a potential job on Wednesday. I'm actually going to talk with them. I'm terrified. So wish me all the luck, please.
Hey. I have 2 joys, so I'm gonna like 2. I'm the one who burned this at the other end last time, by the way, so you're welcome for the uniqueness. Okay, so the first time that I came here, I jumped up and had a concern about finding a job. So today, my joy is I found a job. So I've been working at AMC and I'm loving it because it's super easy and I don't have to do a lot and it still pays pretty good. So, yay! My other joy is that the Pride Alliance has had our first couple events and they've been wonderful. And I'm just really enjoying the spark of community that I'm seeing that is a bit more inclusive than what we've been used to. So, yeah, there we go. Happy Pride!
Anybody else?
Sorry, I don't know your name. Ashley. Can I allow one for you?
Yes, please. I have a couple of concerns. One is for a friend of mine. She's not online. They're online friend, but their younger brother is kind of left home without necessarily communicating to his family, and he doesn't want his family to really know he's out in the world, kind of trying to find his way. But mainly, they want their younger brother to be safe on their journey, and hopefully find where they need to be safe during their journey. But they want to try to keep things somewhat anonymous, so the family's gonna find out the younger brother's out on the journey. And also, just I feel like my life has been kind of wibbly wobbly as far as what's going to happen with it. Yeah, I don't want to give the specifics because of privacy and all that, but yeah, those are 2 of my concerns.
Thank you. Anybody else? Let's see how many we got left. Oh, we got 2 left. That's great. I'll give a joy, and then the last one will be for anybody that's got an unspoken joy or concern, something maybe too private to share, but we want to recognize that and honor that. My first is that if you had told me 9 months ago that I would have been standing here in a pride service, I would have thought, you're a little wonky. Okay, that's just the truth of it. I thought you were a little wonky. But I find myself in this position, and I find myself surrounded by people that I truly love, and that they love me. And I've met so many wonderful friends, some old friends and some new friends in the past few months, that it just floors me. Why haven't I been your friends before? Well, River's going to go into that just a little bit, and let me write this last one, and this is for the unspoken ones. And I will say that this, on the back of your program, there is a musing that I wrote. I hate to call it a poem, and I'm not going to read it to you, but this little thing that I put on the back here is my journey from ignorance to ally. And I don't claim to be a perfect ally. I'm a long way off. But I try, and I strive, and I do it for people like you, for these guys here, for those over there, for you. That's why I do it. And it's a wonderful journey. Let's continue it.
You're next.
Thank you. We're going to do a reverse offering. You ever heard of that? I have a couple plates up here. I've got some little trinkets that we would like to share with everybody. And this one is a mixture of pride pins and bracelets and some stickers and other things of that nature. And so just feel free to take one. I'm going to start it right over here. And y'all just pass those back. And then I've got another one. And this is ally pins. If you consider yourself an ally, but maybe you don't consider yourself in the LGBTQ spectrum, feel free to take one of these, or if you prefer to one of those, you can have that too. They'll be sitting over here in a little bit.
This is Jesus at the gay bar. He's here in the midst of it, right at the center of the dance floor, robes hitched up to his knees to make it easy to spin. At some point in the evening, a boy will touch the hem of his robe and beg to be healed, beg to be anything other than this. And he will reach his arms out, sweat damp and weary from dance. He'll cup the boy's face in his hand and say, "My beautiful child, there's nothing in this heart of yours that ever needs to be healed."
Amen.
So I'm not gonna lie, I had a whole thing that I had written out about a month ago. And then with current happenings, I won't get too political, it all kind of just sounded wrong. So this morning, I'm gonna apologize for my ramblings first, because there's just some things on my heart that I'll talk to you guys about this morning. The first thing I guess I can go through, I'll just put it there. Acceptance. And I looked up
the definition of acceptance. And it seems interesting when looking at it through a way of allyship and queer space, because the definition is the action of consenting to receive or undertake something offered, the process of being received as adequate or suitable, or admitted to a group, or an agreement with a belief, an idea, an opinion, or an explanation. And while those might fit with allyship, I think we want it to go a step further. Something along the lines more of allowing a space, allowing life. And I don't need to get too, it doesn't like when I move. It doesn't, that's up hands up. Yeah.
Also, if you like scoot up, they don't like to be in line with each other.
It's
usually.
just going in and out.
Oh yeah.
Is that, okay, that's better. Because when we talk about acceptance, it's not, we're not asking somebody to go that step and be like, oh yes, I'm righteous and I'm going to be this good person and I'm going to accept who you are. That's not the definition that we're looking for when we talk about acceptance within the queer community. It's seeing somebody and whether you understand their journey. And I'm going to be real with you, I have talked with many in our space. We don't always understand our journey. I know my coming out, especially as non-binary, I don't understand why. It doesn't make sense. We have sat and we have talked so much about this, and it's, people will ask, well, how do you know you identify as non-binary? And I'm like, I don't know, it just fits. Like, there's no real rhyme or reason. So when you hear us talk about acceptance, it's not necessarily you have to understand where we're coming from. You have to understand our journey. You have to understand what we need or how we came to this, because to be honest, we don't understand it. This is how we were made. This is us. This is the true us. So when we talk about acceptance, it's more of I see you and you're valid. Because there are so many that come out and their family goes, well, then that makes you less, and they cut them off. And that's hard. I know with my parents, it's a very complicated relationship of, we're just not gonna talk about it. That's their form of acceptance. We're just not gonna talk about it. And that doesn't work in the world today. We have to talk about it. We have to have conversations. So, my next point was advocate. Well, how do you advocate? How do you push to help people? And I really like the definition of advocacy because it's public support or recommendation of a cause or a policy. It is sad that we have to take our lives and our truth and turn it into a policy, turn it into a recommendation, because people in charge, people who make laws, don't want to see us that way. They have turned us into politics, and that's not necessarily what we want. So, how do you advocate for somebody? We do this all the time. I do this all the time working with my students, and the base that I can bring it to is, if you see something, say something. It's not always easy, but it's as simple as if somebody tells you, hey, I'm gonna try out this new name. Okay, cool. Try to remember it. Encourage others to use it. If you have people who say, hey, these are my pronouns, all right, cool. I'm not gonna lie, I stick it in my phone. If I have your contact information, I have your pronouns there. That way if I'm like, I forget, I can go back and look. It's a cheat sheet. That's fine. But also encouraging other people and being like, hey, that's not what they want to go by. Let's do this. And unfortunately, getting just a tiny bit political, we don't have a voice when it comes to policies. We don't always have reliable sources going to bat for us with these policies and these laws and things that people are making, they're not going to listen to us. Who they will listen to is those that are gender conforming. So if you are an ally, if you do want to help, say something, speak up to those people, be a voice. Which will bring me back to the one thing that I love about my job is I get asked all the time because of my haircut, because of how I dress with kids. They'll go, "Are you a boy or are you a girl?" And if I have an opportunity, because these kids always ask it when I'm trying to get them from point A to point B. It's never when we're like sitting and having a conversation that they ask this, which is hilarious. If we're sitting, those like 1 out of 20 times, it's identify somewhere in the middle. My wife actually has a really good explanation with kids, because they'll also ask her, because they know we're married. And the way she explains it is like, well, you know how girls are pink and boys are blue? And kids are like, yeah. It's like, well, mixed grades is purple. They're somewhere in the middle. And they're like, oh, okay, because color theory gets them. If I'm feeling sarcastic, I will tell them that I identify as a problem. And I had one student that thought it was hilarious and belly laughed and will still giggle when she walks past me because she remembers it, and it's just funny. But ask questions. Don't be afraid. We have become a society that is so scared to approach subjects that are taboo, or we were raised being taught, well, you don't talk about religion, you don't talk about relationships, you don't talk about politics, that's just things that are off the board. And I feel like that's been a big problem and why we are kind of where we're at. Nobody talks anymore. Nobody's willing to go, hey, I've got a question, and then listen to the response. And don't just listen to the response in order to respond, because that's also, I know I have a really bad habit of like, I'll listen and I'll be like, okay, this is how you fix it. And that's not what we want. Sit and truly listen. Listen to their stories, ask about their background, ask what you're comfortable with. That's probably the best thing that kids have, and somewhere along the lines we've kind of rooted that out when we become adults and just forgetting to ask questions. And me personally, I would rather you ask me a question than assume, because then it's just frustrating. You're like, no, ask the question. We'll sit and have the conversation. What was my other point? I have one more point. Hold on. Safe space. I love the pins of "You are safe with me." I hate that we live in a climate where it has to be something that is put out there. But be vocal about being a safe space. I can't tell you how much it meant the first time that we walked in here, because we had kind of done church shopping when we, if you can call it that, when we first started dating, and it was always didn't quite feel like you fit in, didn't quite feel like it was right. And I will give high praise to Tough, because this was the first place that we walked in and there was no judgment. There was no second look. There was no kind of, oh, you guys are married. It was, oh, that's awesome. Here, come have a seat and have lunch with us. It was very welcoming, and that meant so much. And the more that we have built our community and find those places, it's so, so special. And those are interactions that we hold so dear and that we look for more, because we don't have that. We don't always feel safe walking into a space. We don't always feel safe going into a business or being out in public because of how we're viewed, because of we don't know how people are going to react. So be that person, be that safe place, and just have conversations. I have not met a queer person that doesn't like to talk. So just be a safe place, be willing to listen, and be willing to speak up and fight with us, because it is a fight. We are having to fight for our rights, and we appreciate those that stand up and fight with us. And that's what I have for tonight.
Questions and answers?
Yes, questions and answers.
Okay, I got a question.
Okay, sure.
Put y'all on the spot just a little bit. Guys, I've not been here very, very long. I'm a short timer here. Okay, you know, I'm kind of the ringleader or whatever for the moment, but that's just by default, you know. But when I came here, I knew what UU was supposed to be about, but I really wasn't seeing a whole lot of evidence of it. So my mission from day one was to become an ally, to become accepting. I come from a very staunch religious background, and I haven't always been this way. I mean, I'm just being truthful with you. So I kind of targeted you two because I knew you, and I knew y'all would be good allies, and I felt like I could be a good ally to you because we'd already proven ourselves to each other. And I think that's kind of what opened the door to a lot of the other stuff we're seeing, is that not only are we good allies for you, y'all are good allies for us. So would you like to talk maybe a little bit about that, on how the queer community can be a better ally to straight people? Now, you think about what y'all have done before you've been in my life, and how you came to my aid, and that's where I kind of want you to go.
In this,
You turned me off.
No, I turned him down.
Dare.
He's holding it correctly.
Well, I don't like the microphone, so
Yeah, I know, that's why you have to come back.
I know I'll say just with me personally, I don't know, I won't speak for the many. I am always willing to do more and to help when I know it's going to be reciprocated. When I know somebody's going to support me, I'll do just about anything. And we do that almost to a fault. We talked about this yesterday. Because it is so hard to find people that will put in the work or will just accept the fact that we're together. It's a lot of a respect thing for me. If you can accept who I am and who my spouse is, then I'm willing to work with whoever.
May I add something to that? It's okay. I'm pretty loud. I don't think you guys. So something that I'll add as far as being an ally for the straight community, I think even those of you who are already allies, taking the opportunity to educate. Even when someone is closed-minded, even when you don't think you can reach them, if they give you the opportunity to teach them something new, it is so important for us to grab that opportunity. And I think that's really important as far as being an ally for just our community as a whole here in East Texas, right? We have a lot of ignorance and a way of thinking that people were raised with, that it's hard to change that mindset. But you'd be surprised how having just a humble conversation with someone can change their heart.
Hi there, I'm Robert, and I've heard it said a lot of times that the Bible doesn't say anything about gay people. Gay people in the afterlife. That's just not true. The answer is there, and it won't take long for me to explain it to you. But according to the eminent religious philosopher of our time, whose name was Yeshua, you may know him as Jesus. There are two kinds of people when it comes to the afterlife. They're the righteous and the not righteous. So you're either one or other. There's no in between, according to Matthew 25. So how do you get to be a not righteous person? Well, being gay does not make you a not righteous person. because it's very clear. You have to not do things to be not righteous. And there's a list of things that you have to not do. And if you ever do one of these things, you can't be a not righteous person. So let me give you the list of the things that you cannot do if you want to go to hell. Number 1, do not feed the hungry. If you ever feed a hungry person, you are out. You cannot get to hell. It's just the way it is. Number 2, do not clothe the naked. That will get you excluded from hell. You have to go to heaven whether you want to or not. Number 3, do not care for the immigrant. If you ever care for a person in a strange land, you are excluded, absolutely excluded from the realm of hell. You have to go to the other place whether you want to or not. 2 other things. If you visit the sick, if you visit people in prison, those 5 things will kick you out of hell, and you have to go to heaven. And it doesn't matter if you're a druid or an atheist or an agnostic, or if you're gay, or if you're whatever. It doesn't matter. Did we talk about that? No, because it does not matter. So the answer is, if you do any of those 5 things, you're excluded from hell. You have to go to the other place, and it doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is.
Thank you, Robert. Anybody else?
I want to add on to what you were saying there, and being an ally and answering your question partially of being an ally to the straight community. As someone who is in a straight relationship but is as straight as a triangle, there's a couple corners there and some lines, but it's not a line. Anyway, point is of having those conversations. I had a conversation with a coworker yesterday. I don't remember how the conversation got brought up, but we were talking about Pride Month and etc. And he had said that if his kid gets older and comes out as gay, that's fine, but he would want to sit him down and talk to him about why does he feel this way. I'm like, no, that's not how you handle that conversation. Because if you sit him down and be like, why are you gay? Why do you like men instead of women? The answer is, I don't know, why do you like women and not men? You just do. It's not a, how does this come about and why is this and what is, you just do. The answer is, okay, cool. Do you have a boyfriend? Yes, no, cool. Are they coming over Saturday? Yes, no, cool. That's the conversation that is to be had on that end. Not, why are you gay? Why do you like men? I don't know. I didn't know how else to explain it, but that was the answer. And
that indicates too that there's something wrong with it.
Exactly. That part. And I know years ago, this has been, you're hungry, okay, we're gonna eat in a minute. Anyway, this has been years ago, but one of my best friends through high school, they had an aunt who, their whole life, they knew this person as Uncle Samuel. It was Uncle Samuel, and then one day they had a Christmas get together and Uncle Samuel comes up and it's now Aunt Samantha. And they have Asperger's autism. They did not know how to handle this, and I was so happy they came to me to ask. I felt great. They were like, how do I handle it? I don't know how to feel. I keep finding myself calling them uncle, and I know that's not how they identify, and I'm having a really hard time understanding it and calling them by what they want to be called, because I don't understand how that works. And I'm like, you don't have to understand it. You do not have to understand how someone feels to understand that they feel that way. And I'm sure Aunt Sam understands that that it's going to be a hard thing for you, because you've went 20 years calling them uncle, and now you're like, they understand, but just try. That's all they're asking is do your best to do this. And that's because that's all you can do. You can't do better than your best. If you're giving 100%, there's no more you can get. And awkwardness, I don't know how to end conversations very well, but that's really all I
I have something to add to the question of how the queer community can be an ally to the straight community. When the question was first asked, I had a really weird gut reaction to that question. I was like, what? But then I thought about it some more. I was like, actually, there is something that we can do that we are pretty uniquely qualified for. And I've noticed, I'm very heavily generalizing here, but I've noticed that straight people tend to get very heavy into gender roles, very heavy into if you are a man, you should do this. If you're a woman, you should do this. If you are in a heterosexual relationship, you need to do this way. And because straight people aren't confronted about their sexuality in the way that queer people are, they aren't always forced to dismantle those ideas that they have. And those ideas can be very hurtful, they can be very rigid if they don't fit the person in question. So queer people are unfortunately forced to dismantle all their preconceived notions about their identities, about their relationships, about their sexualities. We are experts at that. So we can help straight people say, hey, is this working for you? No? Okay, then change it. You don't have to do this way just because society tells you to do things this way.
I'll take it now. I think just generally speaking, trying to push towards the goal of being allies to one another, of everyone, is that we have to get to the heart of understanding each other in a different way, and understanding that none of us, no matter what group we're in, are a monolith, meaning that none of us are the same. Once you meet one non-binary person, you have not met every non-binary person. And so once I've met one person of color, I've not had that cultural experience from that one person. So we have to keep reminding ourselves that to truly understand, it takes more than one conversation. It takes more than one connection, which is why things like pride flags are important, because they're like the same as having a Doctor Who bumper sticker. You're looking for connections in other people. You want to say to the world, I love Doctor Who, do you too? And it's the same thing with our pride flags. We're just searching for connection and understanding. And the more compassion we have for each other, and the more that we truly try to understand, then I think that's the key to being general allies to each other always. So, there we go.
It's me again, Margaret. When I lived in Nashville, I was married to a girl named Terry. I was a musician, I couldn't find a job. I had brand new babies that I took care of while she went out and worked. And she worked at the Nashville City Club as a server. And she worked with a bunch of gay men that were really nice guys. I met all of them, and they were very interesting. And there was one guy that she hung out with all the time, and I played Santa at their Christmas party, and he grabbed me and took me out to his car, and he lit up a spliff, and he handed it to me, and I took a big old drag of it, and he said, I wanted to let you know, Tom, that there's nothing really going on with any of us and your wife. I said, well, I know that. He said, no, you really don't know. I'm much more attracted to you. And I said, well, thank you, Danny. And he said, you're certainly welcome. Can I have a hug? And I gave him a hug. And we went back in, and it was great. But she still stayed out till 2 or 3 in the morning, dancing at Tootsie's with her. I couldn't get him to bring her home on time.
Anybody else? Okay.
Robert reminded me of a quote that I had written down that I left in my notebook at home. There's an artist, he's also a YouTuber, His name is Rhett, and he has been deconstructing his faith. And he's written a whole album about it, but he, in doing this publicly, has had people come up. He said, I've had so many parents come up and go, my kids are leaving the church and I don't understand. I don't know why they're doing it. And he had probably the best response to it ever. He's like, it's because of what you did. And all these parents are confused. They're like, what did I do to make my kid leave the church? And he said, you spent every Sunday taking them to church and teaching them the teachings of Jesus. And you drilled that into your head. You drilled in love of neighbor, and you drilled in acceptance of others, and you drilled in not judging. And they took that and they put it into their hearts, and then they turned around and they saw the hypocrisy of the religion or the church or the institution that you took them to, and they chose to follow the teachings that you taught them. And so they left. And it's not because you did a bad job. It's actually because you did your job. You did the right thing. And the more that I go through my life journey and deconstructing how I was raised, because it was a very, very strict religious background that I come from, it is true. It's that love of neighbor that drives everybody. And I think if we can get back to that, that would be a great way to be an ally both ways, is love each other. And you don't have, this is a joke that I always tell my parents, you don't have to like everybody all the time, but you can love everybody. Because there are times where I'll look at even my students, I'm like, I don't like your choices, I don't like what you're doing right now, I love you. And so I need you to go there. And we're going to fix that. But I think love of neighbor is truly what's important. And I just love his quote that he has too.
Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Love your neighbor as you love your family. Sometimes your family's not very lovable, but you're going to love them anyway. There's the old saying about blood being thicker than water, but there's a lot more to that statement if you go and you read about it. And the thing that I look for in a person on the Q spectrum is, do they make space for me to make mistakes? Do they make space for me to, not purposefully, but misunderstand them because of ignorance? Can they come to me and say, hey, this is my preferred gender, you messed it up. And me say, oh, I'm sorry. And they accept that apology. Those are the kind of things that I look for in an ally. I've got a grandchild, and they are they right now. And at one time they were a cute little sweet little girl, and I just run around in pigtails and dresses, and that's not who they are at the moment. And I find myself having to correct myself and say, I'm sorry, I meant to say they. And they come to me and say, Papa, it's okay. And I said, well, I've heard you get on to the other grandparents. You're not getting on to me. They say, because you're making a mistake. They're doing it on purpose. And that's what we have to do. We're allowed to make mistakes, but we have to, when we make these mistakes, a good ally will say to us, hey, you made a mistake, let's correct it. Not get angry, not get upset or mad or anything else. And that's what I look for. Somebody that can accept when I say she and it's they, and say, he's an old fart, he messed up, let him get away with it. But if he keeps doing it, let's say something. All right? Right, good?
Yeah, we will. I'm sorry, I'm just quiet. Okay. Now we'll do the extinguishing of our chalice. As we come to the end of service, may you depart from our time together, delighted by the warmth of our gathering, renewed in soul and mind, as we extinguish the flame of our chalice, May its lingering spark be carried in your heart until we are together again.
And we're ready to eat. ready to eat, you make your way to the kitchen, and we do have outside seating, and we'll have inside seating set up shortly.